You can alter in flight when that thing is slight weight to the inside, slight weight to the outside. Where's that leg going this way, or is it going this way? The straighter the horse gets, most of your horses that are paddling is a counterbalance maneuver. Okay. Watching a horse's hips when they're moving. Is that hip lift the same? Does that leg swing the same from inside to out? Is one side tracking straighter with the body or not? There's so many times you watch a horse coming at you and you think, well, I'm not in front of him. When you step in front, where you're in front of him, you find out he's not coming right at you because he's not traveling straight. Looking at a hind leg, people get real concerned about horses toed out in the back end, or they're cow-hocked or whatever. If a horse will, it's like me standing up here. I'm not standing squared up. This is comfortable at the moment. I don't stand square on both sides because, well, after a while it hurts. But if he'll come up and square up in his movement pattern, I'm not that concerned about it. If he keeps that in his movement pattern, we've got some things to look at. But if you look at your big heavy-bodied horse, your draft horse, a lot of them will stand like this in the back end every time you stop them. Now, also, if that's the problem in trimming, do I have a twist in that hoof capsule, and do I need to counterload the twist to unload the twist to get the hoof capsule to settle a bit? And sometimes that's enough to clean it up without anything else. You can do all kinds of metal work, and until you get that hoof capsule to settle in where you want it to be, you're putting torque against torque. And I would, let's address that before we start getting crazy with extension of trailers and side weights and all this sort of deal. In flexion, I want to see the horse's stifle flex. I want to see that stifle open. If you see horses that are really flat across the top of the croup, there's the pointer. I used it. But if you're really tight and developed here, but undeveloped here, the horse is pulling with his hind legs too straight. This area, quadricep muscles are in here. For a horse to have strong quadriceps, they have to flex. Okay. If he's flat here, is he off his front end? No, he's not. He's dumping on his front end. He can't help it. We want to move, and this goes back to, Megan, these negative palmar angle horses, right? And this is one thing we tend not to look at because we look at front feet. I have more effect over the length of a horse's stride out of the back end of a horse than I do on the front. And there's some people worked with some of the Amish farriers on driving road horses, and they did a lot of, they brought in a lot of technology. These Amish guys were doing the work. They were not doing the technology. They're as technical as I am. But they were measuring on the front end, making adjustments on the front end to work on stride length. They were making about 2 inches difference. If they kind of gave up on that and went straight to the back end of the horse, what they were doing with breakover timing and all that kind of stuff, they were making 8 to 10 to 12 inches difference in stride length on the front end of the horse because of the adjustments they made in the back end. And most people do not want to shoe the back end of a horse. The reason we shoe the front of a horse, they're getting tender. Sometimes that's not always the best reason. In shoeing young horses on the front end immediately because they're getting tender, so we pick up the work, we kind of teach them to lean on the front end. They're unbalanced. Front feet are a little sore. Back feet are probably a little sore too, so we protect the front feet. Taught them to lead on the front end. When I was very young farrier, for a little while I did work on a few reining horses and cutting horses, where they actually did the back end of the horse because they wanted to teach the horse to depend on the back end. Let's let the front end fill it a little bit, and they'll rock back on the protected feet because that horse, to make his next maneuver, has to sit here.